He's talking about the secrets of exploratory testing. Over to Bryan.
Thank you. So it's going to be a bit of an interactive session. Can you guys hear me okay at the back? And I will apologize, I'm South African. I do speak a bit fast sometimes when I get passionate and excited about something. So if I'm speaking too fast, say, whoa, slow down. So it should work. Ooh, so very quick introduction to who I am. Exploratory testing, what is it not? Testers versus developers, use cases. And then we'll look at testing tools. Most importantly, the golden circle of testing. And then a bit of an exercise, how would you test an elevator? You'll understand a bit more just now. Close, and then questions and answers. There we go. So who am I? Well, I sometimes call myself a quality gatekeeper, not a tester. As a tester, we are the final lines of defense between the customer and the developer. We protect the developer, but we also take the grief from the customer. So we are that final line of defense. I'm a family man. I've got 3 kids. We've homeschooled all 3 of them. My eldest is in college right now, getting ready to go to university in 2 years. I accidentally ended up in testing. So a bit of a background. I studied computer sciences in high school. I will give away my age by saying I learned on C++, Quick Basic, and Turbo Pascal. Who's used Turbo Pascal? Who's ever heard of Turbo Pascal? Right, okay, so I've given away my age there. Left high school, I ended up in catering, running restaurants, running hospitals, being involved in the point of sale implementation, being involved in training along the way, but always being involved in the IT side of things. And came to the UK from South Africa in 2007, changed careers, worked in recruitment. From recruitment, I went into financial regulation. And then from there, we actually ended up working with a third party to build a replacement system that we were using at the time because it was so archaic. Really enjoyed testing that and ended up moving across to actuarial systems testing. So, anybody know what an actuary is? Couple of nods, couple of blank faces. So these are the fancy mathematical geniuses that work out your insurance premium or what your pension's going to be worth and how much money you're going to get back based on how much money you're putting in. So I did that for a few years, moved across to bulk purchase annuities, ended up studying a degree in business and management, moved on to software as a service with a company called License Dashboard, and decided I'm getting bored seeing all these people contract, and I went contracting in 2016 and haven't looked back since. Joy of contracting is I get to work in many different industries. So I've worked in government sector, private sector, insurance, banking, charity, e-commerce, and a few other sectors as well. So why do I do what I do? I love to break things. I love exploring. I love breaking things. I love challenging the status quo. I love questioning things. And that's where I come in. So a lot of what I've done over the years is summed up in this statement here. I help stressed out businesses build and implement bespoke, cost-effective software testing solutions. So you can implement a testing function that lasts a lifetime, saves money, and focuses on growth. I'm like Gandalf for testing, no bug shall pass, and that's where it came in. So I've designed processes, implemented test processes, built up test teams from scratch, I've had a very varied set of testing along the years, and wherever I've been, exploratory testing has been a key skill that I've needed to implement and train as well as use. And it's something I'm passionate about. I love testing software. I love people testing software. I love developers getting on board and testing their own software, because how many times has a developer thrown something over the fence and said, there we go, test it without testing it? Has anybody had that happen to them? Yeah, the nods and the shakes say everything. So that's why I've done this. I've done this with devs. I've done it with other testers as well. So here we go, exploratory testing. What isn't it? It's clicking buttons. Who here has had an Excel spreadsheet to run through and going, there we go, go and explore? Yeah. Running test scripts. How many of those test scripts have been click on this, right click that, type in this. Yeah, is that testing? How many times have you guys been told to run a automation script and gone, there we go, you've tested it? Yeah, not good. So why do I do what I do? Why do I do what I do? I love doing it. So moving on. I thought this is a brilliant example.
This is a square. Can you guess which spot that goes in?
The square.
That's right. It goes in the square hole.
Yes. Okay.
And how about this rectangle? That one
Also the square.
goes in there too.
Yeah.
Up next, we've got this thin rectangle.
The thin
Can you guess
rectangle.
where that goes?
The thin rectangle.
That's right. It goes in the square hole. And up next, a cylinder.
The circle.
I think that goes in
The circle.
the square hole. Now, you've also got this semicircle right here. Do you see a slot that would fit
The semicircle.
semicircle?
The semicircle.
That's right, it's the square hole. Okay. Up next, the triangle. We know what hole that goes
The
into,
triangle.
right?
Triangle.
That's right, the square hole. And up next, we have the arch.
The arch. Arch.
You guessed it,
Arch.
it goes in the square hole.
Right, okay, I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of making developers cry. I'm guilty of looking at it and going, how can I use it? Not necessarily how was it designed. And we'll get on to how I approach testing in a moment, but exploratory testing tools. We need tools. Let's get a couple of tools from people. What are your favorite tools to use?
Me.
You stolen my thunder. Okay, that's fine. You've heard this one before. You are the tool, yes. So the greatest tool to testing is you. You are the tool. And if you take anything away from today, just remember that you are the best tool there can ever be. So when it comes back to AI, people use it. AI can do some testing, but at the end of the day, I think testers will always have a role. Yes, we need to adopt new methodology and adapt to AI, but there'll always be a need for testing. So now that you know you're a tool, let's test. So, the golden circle of testing. So Simon Sinek spoke about the golden circle of why, how, what. Now, use your imagination. Imagine you've never seen what this is before. For those of you who can't see at the back, it's a 8-pack of Coke cans. How would you test this? Well, if you didn't know what it was used for, would you stand on it? Would you try and build something with it? And if you didn't know what a Coke can was used for, what would you do? Would you give it a good shake? Who wants to catch? All right, okay, both of you. There we go. So what is it? You know, we got. Yeah. Okay. Throwback. So we have a pack. It's in a case. Unless you knew what to do with it, or how to use it, or why, it would just be something that sat there. You get a Coke can. Would you know how to shake it up? Would you know that you need to open it? How would you use it? So the question is, why does this exist? Right? How would you know what to do with it? And what is the primary use of it? Anybody else want to play catch? Whoops, almost. New glasses, yeah? So, is it a throwing tool? So the question, you get a Coke can and you ask yourself, why does it exist? How do I use it? What is it for? And the people sitting in the front row are thinking, oh boy.
Well, you tapping it for a reason.
So, when we come to testing, why does a site or application exist? These are the questions we need to ask when we're coming to testing. And these questions I ask myself every time I test a new application. When I want to explore and play with it, these are the questions I ask. But these are also the same questions I ask the developers. Why is it designed that way? It's a dangerous question. Saying to the developer, why did you build it that way? Why is it implemented that way? So coming back to the user research, sometimes there's a very good reason. Other times it's personal preference. Other times it's legacy code that you're building on top of. Why should a person use your website? Why should they buy it from your shop online? Why should they use your application? How? So now we understand the why. How does each page or field operate? So we need to have a look at it and go, how do we use it? How does the flow of the application feel? How does the site feel? Does it flow smoothly? So from an accessibility perspective, can somebody use it and tab through to the different fields? Does it flow properly? You know, from a usability perspective, if you are creating a form, does it jump all over the place? You know, does it have a good user journey? What is its purpose? So every field on a website has a purpose. The field, whether it's a paragraph of data, whether it's an input field, it has a purpose. What are its users using it for? So for those of you who are upstairs and heard about the scandal, Horizon was originally built for the post office, for the pension system, but it ended up being used for everything. What fields, buttons are present? So looking at the page and going, what do we see? And what is the expected result? So with everything, what is the expected result? There's got to be a result for a customer. There's got to be a result for using something. So, common one, you know, date fields, we enter 0000. You know, it's always a common one. So why? So, coming back to this, giving it a good shake. Who wants to, who trusts me?
I'm hoping because you've been tapping it, it's not going to do it yet.
No. So coming back to these questions, why, how, what? These are the questions we should be asking ourselves when we test an application, whether we are testing it for the first time or whether we're testing it for the umpteenth time. And these are the questions that apply for exploratory testing, but I like to take an exploratory testing approach to every single piece of code I test, whether it's been the first time or not. I want to look at it with a fresh pair of eyes. And by asking these questions, it forces us to take a step back and ask. But also, we need to ask this of the devs, ask this of the BAs, because we need to understand the product. How are our customers using it? Why are they using it? And what exactly are they doing during the journey? So if we can get the lights on. So I've got the example of how would you test an elevator? So I've got some pens here. Using the what, why, how would you test an elevator? I'll just do so everybody's using an elevator. If you haven't used an elevator, put your hand up.
We call them lifts over here.
You call them lifts? Oh, right, okay. That's depressing. Let's call it a prop list, an elevator. It elevates you up and elevates you down. Right, what would you test? So if you were testing an elevator, what would be the first thing you test? Let's shout out a few things. What would you test?
The up and down buttons.
Up and down buttons. What else would you test? Pardon? Doors open and close.
Can you call a floor when you're inside the elevator?
Call a floor, yeah.
Emergency buttons?
Okay, I'm going to change pens here. This is drying out a bit.
The doors doesn't close when you're standing in between.
I do apologize for my writing. So door pressure. Okay. Capacity. Levels.
Power cut.
Power cut. Okay. Buttons. Okay. Obstructions. Oh, I like that one.
The sound normally has somebody who's a woman who shouts at you.
I'm gonna have to do more over here, okay? A woman that shouts at you. Okay, it's a going up, going down, okay. Should I put there, woman that shouts at you?
Yeah.
Is that the very good? Woman shouting, okay.
Vibrations.
Vibrations, okay.
Someone just shouted escape hatch from over there.
Escape,
The escape hatch, whoever shouted from over there.
hatch,
Braille on the buttons.
braille, that's a good one.
Malfunctions.
Stop at level. Sorry, what was the last one?
Malfunctions is
Malfunctions, yeah.
pressing all the buttons.
Oh, we got some negative testers in here. Camera. Yeah, so we've got the obstruction. Lights, emergency brake.
Stops in line with the floor, so you can walk out without falling.
You're not dropping your keys.
Level floor. Access. Right, I think that's great on the watts. Weight, we've got capacity. Weight. So I do apologize about my handwriting. Get a different pen.
Dual door access.
Usability access.
No, the dual door access.
Door access. So we've got access there. So let's go through the list. So I'm conscious that we've managed to do this in a lot quicker than I originally anticipated. There'll be time for questions and answers. Up, down buttons. Why would you test that? Functionality, but why?
You want to go up or you want to go down?
Okay, destination.
It's not usable if it doesn't.
Who said this elevator's for humans? You can have goods lifts, you can have things that only put food in it, so not all of these will apply.
Yep. Well, so let's just take, we're using the elevator for this example. So you want to get to the right destination, doors open and close. Why would you test that? Enter and leave, you don't want to be trapped in.
It's safety as well, you don't close behind you.
So there's actually a video of a person in a mobility scooter ramming the doors and actually forces the doors open and then actually goes down the elevator shaft. So safety, very, very key one. You want to call a floor, see your destination. Emergency button, why would you test the emergency button?
So if something goes wrong, you can get out. Or you can let someone know.
Testing the process as well, probably a guy that comes out and press it.
Yeah. So something goes wrong, fire department needs to come to you, they need to be notified. Does it let them know? You know, do they get the right notification that there's somebody stuck in an elevator? You could end up going to the NHS saying we need an ambulance, but they could arrive and you're in there and they can't do anything. Door pressure, why would you test this?
To not get stuck in the door.
You guys are brilliant. I was expecting a bit of resistance. It's fantastic. Capacity, weight. Why would we test that? Sorry, I've got two answers at the same time. Load testing. Yeah, load testing. I'll put that load, yeah.
As well as stretch.
Also, there's usually a sign on the elevator somewhere that says the capacity and the weight, and you want to check that you're actually providing that capacity and weight in case it ever gets tested. I've never seen anyone actually, the capacity of people actually fit into the lift, but you never know.
Yeah, it was great when they say it'll take 10 people and 1,200 kilos, and you think you can barely squeeze 6 people in here. They kind of over-egg it, but yes, load capacity, stress testing. Levels, somebody shouted out levels earlier. Why would you test the levels?
Not with the doors opening halfway up
Yeah.
the floor.
You make sure it doesn't miss levels as well. You don't press 3 and find out you can never go to 3.
Alignment with the floor.
Alignment, yeah. Power cut. Why would you test a power cut? Safety. Yeah. Who's ever been stuck in a lift and the power's gone off? Was it pleasant?
No.
Did the backup lights kick in?
After about 10 minutes.
So you sat there in the dark,
Pressing that button.
pressing that button. Could you find it to begin with?
Yeah, a little, because it was dyed as opposed to being electric.
Do you think they tested it properly?
No.
Obstruction, speed. Why would you test obstruction or speed? Safety. Safety is a key. We want to get to our destination safely. Why else? User experience. Okay.
Destination again, so because speed is new feature on your
Destination. I do apologize about my writing. If anybody's taking photos, forgive me. Destination, but why else would you test speed?
Depending on the distance you're travelling, it's a high volume building that's got numerous floors.
Who's been in an elevator where it suddenly just drops and it feels like your stomach's going through your throat? Motion sickness? Yeah, motion.
Would it be also to make sure it's a viable alternative? Because if you're able to take the stairs, then it's much, much quicker to. Would you bother to take the elevator unless you have to?
Yeah. Well, I'm taking steps to avoid these elevators.
Also, speed of doors opening and shutting, so people can actually get out.
Yeah, get out. Door pressure. Doors open, get out. Hitesh?
I have a counterpoint for the obstruction and the user experience.
Okay.
Because, there is a lift in New York hotel which doesn't have a door and never stops. So basically you can get out and get in.
Yes.
Keep on running. So it's an experience for some people.
Yep. And I think it's the last one that still exists and you can actually use. I know which one you're talking about. Not seen it. I got 5 minutes. Ah.
Less than that now.
Less than that now, okay. Right, so I thought I was at plenty of time. Right, okay, so moving on to the how would we test this? Because we've covered a lot of these. So let's cover Braille. Why would we test Braille? Accessibility. So malfunctions. Why would we test malfunction?
So we know how the system responds to a malfunction.
Know how it responds. So when something goes wrong, or if we find something during testing, we can put something in place to fix it. So like your experience, Richard, you would hope that they put in emergency lighting. They kicked it straight away.
Yeah.
You'd hope. Okay, so very quickly, moving on to the how. So how would we test the buttons?
Press them.
Press them. Punch them.
Press more than one at once. No, that's pressing multiple buttons. No, that's not at the same time. There's 2 at the same time.
I got it.
Pressing multiple buttons.
Okay.
The kids way.
The kids' way, yes. Press everything at once. Yeah, kids' way. I like that. And kids have a natural exploratory testing mindset, and testing is a mindset. So we need to ask these questions all the time because that drives the right mindset. And if we're asking why, how, what of the developers, it will drive them to write the code, hopefully in a better way for us to test it. So they would understand why we're testing, what we're testing, and they would understand how they're implementing it. So when they hand over, they can go, I've implemented the code in this way, and this is why I've done it. And this is exactly what has changed. So, power cut. How would you test a power cut? Cut the power. And what would you be looking when you've cut the power? Emergency kick in? But what does that mean? Emergency kick in, back up? What does that mean? Brakes. Lights. I think I've got.
So you might also have like monitoring in place that tells you there's been a power cut. Do those
Yeah.
work? Are you told, or are you just waiting for someone to tell you?
So, perfect.
Business continuity.
Great. Well, those have been some fantastic answers, guys. I'm just conscious I've got like 2 minutes. So I'll wrap that up there. So I've just put my clicker down. And that's it. So when we look at something, the questions why, how, what is a golden circle of testing. We need to be asking this every time we get a ticket across to test. Every time there's new functionality, we should be asking these questions of the developers. Why have you done it that way? How have you implemented and what exactly has changed? It drives those conversations with the developers, but it also drives the conversations with you guys, and it drives that right mindset. So to close, be curious, always question, and trust yourself. If something doesn't feel right, trust your gut. Go and investigate it. And that's it. Any last questions very quickly? I'm just conscious it's time. Awesome. Thanks, guys. QR code there for my details.